We're learning about Sefer Shmuel Aleph, and about the amazing incident that the Jewish people came and asked for Shmuel and Navi. They asked for a king, and there's a mitzvah in the Torah that's really conditional. There's a mitzvah in the Torah that says if the Jewish people, they don't ask for a king, so there's no mitzvah to appoint a king. If they want to have a king, if they feel they need to have a king, so then it becomes a mitzvah to appoint a king. So the only thing is that the purpose of a Jewish king is not like a king for the Goyim. A Jewish king is that the Jewish people felt that they needed someone over them to make sure that they serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It says when the judges judged in the beginning of Megillas Rus. So it says when the judges judged, and the Gemara says that they used to judge their judges. If a judge would come in and tell them they were doing something wrong, and they would tell the judge what he was doing wrong, because they were tough people and they knew how to serve Hashem. They were all serving Hashem. They did not need a king. It used to be that everyone would be on their farms taking care of their needs, and then if they were threatened by the Plishtim or the Canaanim, a different nation was invading, so Hashem would cause some person of a noble heart would feel a stirring inside him that he has to rise to the challenge to be able to help the Jewish people, and he would become a shofet, and he would lead the Jewish people for a certain time until the enemy had been repelled. And then they would go back to their farms. Even when Shaul became the king, the first thing he does after he becomes the king is he goes back home. You know, we don't have that in America. Here they have the conventions and the pomp and everybody's great, and always the camera has to be on me. And if I don't get the camera on me, then I complain like a 2-year-old that I'm not getting enough coverage by the media. That's why no one wants to vote for me. But here, Shaul went and he, when they wanted to anoint the king, they had to find him. It was like he was sleeping in the coat room where everyone threw their coats. They had to go find him. Here, if someone's going to be anointed to be the president, so he's here I am, guys. He's here I am, and I have all my entourage and all my people and all my delegates. But Shaul, the moment he was anointed to become the king of the Jewish people, he just went home. And so it's telling us that it was that the Jewish people, that the purpose that they want a king is because we feel that we're not serving Hashem, but we need someone over us, that if we're slacking off a little bit, will force us in our service of Hashem. But Shmuel, the Navi, was very upset when they came to him and asked for the king should be anointed. And why should he be upset if that's what the condition is? If they want to have a king, there should be a king. So why should he be upset? And the answer is because they said, we want to have a king like all the other nations. And that's the problem. They didn't want to have a king because they needed someone. They weren't requesting a king because they needed someone to force them and to help them, to make sure, to watch over them that they're serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They wanted to have a king to make sure because all the other Geisha people have kings, so we should have a king also. So that's why, and so that's what upset him. That they're coming and say we want to be like all the other nations, and so Hashem sent him that at a certain time I'm going to send you a certain person, and he's supposed to be the person who's going to be the king over the Jewish people. So Shmuel went and spoke and saw Shaul, who was going to be the king. And Shaul didn't understand. He didn't understand why Shmuel was inviting him, come and eat with you. I'm going to offer up a karbonas up on a private bama. In those days before the Beis Hamikdash, a person could have a mizbeach in his backyard, and he could, it could bring karbonas. Like, someone says, "Oh, I'm going to give me a moment. I'm bringing a carbon to Hashem. I'll be right back." So that's what Shmuel was doing. He's bringing karbonas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that he invited Shaul that Shaul should eat with him. You can join us if you want. If you want, you can join me. Whatever. I have to talk to somebody. So Shaul was asking. So Shaul said to him, he said, so V'yan Shaul answered V'yomer, and he said, V'halo ben Yamini Anochi. I'm someone from the tribe of Ben Yamin. Miktani Shivti Yisrael. I'm the smallest of all the shvatim of the Jewish people. Mashpachti. And my family is all the other families. My family is the youngest of all the families. And yet he was on the precipice of becoming the king of the Jewish people. And what he says is that I'm really nothing. I'm really nobody. I don't even know why you're speaking to me. And the same thing when Hashem came to Moshe Rabbeinu, when he said to Moshe Rabbeinu that he was going to be the leader of the Jewish people. So Hashem said, Moshe said, I can't speak. I have come sit down, bring a chair, come sit down. I can't speak. We're talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, how the Jewish leaders are different. That here we have that we're coming into we've been suffering. What? Yes, therefore. Okay, so go this way then. Okay. So that we've been suffering from the conventions of a presidential election for the longest time now, and everybody is saying how great they are and how they're the best and how they should be elected and how the other person shouldn't be elected, and they insult each other and they put each other down. It's just total disgusting embarrassment. But they don't mind the humiliation they put themselves through. It's like it's worth it. I don't see why anyone would want to be the president. Every single day, hundreds of cartoonists write cartoons about you, making fun of you. People write, except for Obama. They just do everything to cover him. He could do the most terrible thing to the country, and they'll just say, "You're doing great. You're doing great." They'll do anything they can to make sure he's covered. Any other person, so he has to suffer tremendously, and I don't see why they want to do it. But the covet of being the president is so great, they'll go through any humiliation. They had in the 1960s, they had an experiment there. I don't know why people do these types of things, but they had a pool in California which they filled with urine, and they dropped $100 bills in there, a whole bunch of, and people just dived right in to get the $100 bills. So it was worth it to get the $100 bills, that they should dive into the urine. The same thing by running for the president, they go through, they have to have Secret Service people. Any knucklehead, could come in to try to take a shot at them. Anyone could kill them, right? Anyone, they have to go through so much humiliation and torture and under such pressure and scrutiny. And you think, my gosh, why would anyone want to do it? Why go through this gauntlet of this? Someone saying, just walk through here. We have all this bunch of people with these big clubs, and for the next 11 months, we're going to beat you in the head. And if you make it through, you can be the president. You say, no, thank you. And then your problems then they just begin their problems. It's like, no, thank you. Who needs this? But the drive for covet, to be honored, is so great that people will go through anything to be able to get covet. That people will do anything to get honored. And why is that? What is the potency of covet, of giving honor? What is the potency of covet that a person will go through so much abuse just to be able to get it? And covet is a reward of the next world. It makes no sense just because someone praises me, or someone claps for me, or someone says you did a good job, and we're going to give you an honor, we're going to give you an award, we're going to make you in a position of power.
I think every rabbi wants covet, no?
Not every rabbi. Can I speak honestly? Every single person on planet Earth wants respect. Everyone wants respect. If a person can get coveted, can get complimented, people will do anything. The best way to manipulate people is to give them covet and compliment them. If you want, I say to my family, we have to go here to this government office. We have to go here and speak to these people and this people and that people. Smile at people, compliment people, tell them they're doing a good job, and they do a better job. The power of a smile is incredible. I once tried the experiment. I wanted to try an experiment many years ago, 25 years ago. There was in my neighborhood was a dry cleaner of two Italian brothers. They were twin brothers. They were the meanest people on the planet. They were so mean and nasty, and just so not nice. So I decided that I'm going to try my experiment of a smile. Let's see what's going to happen. So I came into the dry cleaners and I smiled at them, and I looked at them as if they were those wonderful people on planet Earth. And by the end of, it didn't even take 2 or 3 times. By the time I finished giving over my clothes, these guys, their whole personalities changed. They became so happy. They were going out of their way to be able to help me, because if they're looking like all of a sudden someone's smiling at them, and they go like what happened? So they think this person sees something special in me that other people don't see, and I don't want to let that person down. I'm gonna if that person feels that I'm such a special person, I'm not gonna let that person. I'm not gonna let go of that gift. So when you smile at people and compliment people and thank people and you point out all the different ways they're doing something good, they'll go overboard to be able to try to help you. So what I'm saying, going back to our topic, is that when it comes to the Gaisha leaders and what people want covered, that's why is covered such an amazing, powerful thing, is because it's a reward of the next world. It's not a reward of this world. A reward of this world is you get an extra piece of pizza. A reward of this world is you get maybe money. People give you money so you can buy extra pizza. The reward, why should it be that a person should care if people smile at them or compliment them or praise them or give them awards? Why should he? But it does affect people very much. If I say any compliment to you, it's going to make your day. If I insult you in any way, it's going to ruin your day. And really shouldn't be that way. Why should I? But it does, though. You can't get around it. It does. Even a person says, I don't care what other people say about me, wait until someone compliments them and see how their insides change and their outsides will change also. The point is that the covet is, but it makes no sense. If I go and compliment a cow, cow's not going to care. If I can say, cow, you're a really great cow. Of all the cows I know, you can eat grass better than anybody. The cow's not going to care. He's not going to eat grass any better. If I comment, I didn't, or I insult them. I take it back. Actually, they did experiments. They did experiments that they took. They took plants, and one plant, they grew plants, and one plant said, "You're such a beautiful plant. You are so wonderful. You're the nicest plant I ever saw in my life." And they complimented the plant and they praised the plant, right? And the other plant, they said, "Ugh, inside." I don't want to say the words. They cursed at the plant and they said the plant is disgusting, and they did this day after day after day. The difference in the two plants was amazing, that the plant that was being complimented and praised was a gigantic thing, and the plant that was being insulted and degraded was this ugly little thing.
However, you do know plants are a part of a living soul.
I understand. And then the person...
If you ask like Sephardic rabbis who know Kabbalah, they'll tell you all about it.
Okay. So, and they also did it with crystals also.
There's different levels of type of living thing. Like this can be on a level 0 of a living object, even though it's a table.
I understand. But the point is, I understand that, but the point I'm saying is the power of speaking nicely. They even did it with crystals. They had one petri dish of one crystal. This one, the crystal they said Tehillim, they said Psalms to this one. This one they cursed at, and they showed, after a period of time, the crystals were like the most beautiful crystals you can ever imagine, and these crystals were so horrific and ugly. They looked like a person had been stabbed. How disgusting! The difference was incredible. So just as a side point, when it comes to raising children, that if you want your children to hate your guts and do everything they can to make your life miserable, then you'll spend your time insulting and putting them down. If you want your children to be beautiful, and you want your children to be happy, and you want your children to be successful in life, then you'll compliment your children and praise them. And even if they do something wrong, we learn from Yaakov Avinu, who was the epitome of what a father should be. We learn fatherhood from Yaakov Avinu because he had 12 children, more than 12 children. And when Shimon and Levi went and killed out this town of Shechem, he didn't curse them, he cursed their anger. Yes, that we know. We said that you are wonderful, you're a big tzaddikim, I expect more from you. Your anger you got out of hand because of your anger. So it wasn't you, you're a wonderful person. Your anger just caused you to do something that was wrong. And even when you compliment someone, if you compliment someone by saying you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're special, you're unique, you're talented, you're crippling the child also. No one ever talks about this, but just as much as by insulting a child, you will cripple the child. By complimenting them, you'll cripple them also. Because when a person thinks he's wonderful, he's unique, he's special, that means he doesn't have to put into work for something. I don't have to put in work for something because I'm wonderful, I'm unique, I'm special, I'm talented. And so you'll see adults who are wonderful, unique, special, and talented, and they cannot be successful because they're wonderful, special, unique, and talented, and I don't have to put in work into anything. I don't have to, anytime there's any effort that I have to put, I'm not going to do the effort. I'm not going to put in the effort because I'm a wonderful, unique, special, beautiful, brilliant person, and a wonderful, special, unique, brilliant person doesn't put in effort for things. It just happens for him. I hope you understand what I'm saying. When a person comes, you understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When a person, if you want to compliment a child, the correct way to compliment a child is because you put in effort, you were successful because you worked hard. Because you worked hard, you were successful. See what happens when you put in effort? You put in effort and you were successful. So the child knows that when he becomes an adult, if there's anything that's a test that he has to accomplish, he knows that his father told him that you were successful because you put in effort. He knows he has to put in effort. You see, it's a very important point I'm saying here. It's so important I'm going to say it again. We all know about insulting. Insulting, in fact, it's probably better to insult a child than praise a child. Because when you praise, this is my point. When you praise a child, that child is, you're so beautiful, you're so talented, you have such great abilities. You're praising the wrong one. You're supposed to be praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem made the child beautiful. Hashem gave the child the ability to be talented. Hashem gave the child the abilities. Hashem gave the child the brilliance. The child did not do anything for that. That's Hashem's doing. So when you're praising the child for something he had nothing to do with.
You need to praise the child.
What I'm saying, no. I'm saying, no. But I'm saying, yes, praise the child. Listen. I'm saying praise the child, but you praise the child based on what the child has done. The child put in effort. I praise you because you put in effort. Child discourse. If you put in effort, you'll be able to do it.
Recognizing his achievements.
Recognize his achievements, that he achieved something. How did he achieve something?
Him for what he accomplished, not for what he didn't do.
Not for something that was given to him by Hashem. You're so beautiful. The person made himself beautiful. If the person went and the person lost a lot of weight, and you say, "Oh, you look so fabulous," so then you're saying to the person, you put in effort, you worked really hard, you exercised, you ate correctly, whatever. You didn't give up. It was very difficult. You exercised self-control, and look what happened. If you praise a child on the effort that they put in, that's a correct praise because the child actually did something. And so what you're doing is that when he becomes an adult, he knows that anything he has to accomplish, what he's supposed to do is put in effort. And if he puts in effort, he will accomplish, and he will accomplish. If a person says to a child, I'm just repeating myself, just to make sure this point is clear, that when you say you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're especially unique, you're crippling the child, because he's not going to do, any time that you need to do something that requires hard work, he's going to turn off. He'll just turn off the switch and not do it, because I'm unique and special and beautiful, and these types of people don't have to work hard for things. Other people work hard for those things. You see people who suffer, especially in this generation, from the superstar syndrome. Yes, in America we have this thing called Hollywood, this creature called Hollywood, which has crippled many generations from many different ways. And one of the ways is they had this thing in the 1940s in which someone could just be working in there was one famous Hollywood actress, I forgot her name, Baruch Hashem, that she was working behind a counter in a lunchroom, and a Hollywood producer came in and discovered her while she was behind the counter and made her a big Hollywood star. So everyone thinks that's what they have. They're just waiting for someone to discover them. They don't put in hard work. They don't try. They don't accomplish anything. They're waiting to be discovered. And you'll say, and then just waiting, just discover me. First discover me, and I'll put in the hard work. So these people are suffering from they feel that they are a superstar, and they're just waiting for some people to recognize it, and so they don't put in any hard work, and they spend their whole lives frustrated and defeated because no one recognizes their inner greatness, because people don't have time for it. It's not their job to recognize your inner greatness. It's you go out there and do it for yourself. So when a person, we went to the plants, we talked about the praising, and so the same thing by a child. The things that we say, if you insult someone and put them down, they can't do anything. They can't function. Or if they want to have revenge against you. They want to have revenge against you. if you praise a person, they want to do more, but also the praise has to be praise based on because you did something, you put in effort, you did not give up, you persevered. I still remember when I was 7 years old, how old I was, my father was teaching me how to ride a bicycle. And I'd ride off the bicycle and he would scream after me, "Determination!" I still remember in the back, I didn't know what the word determination meant. I just knew it meant something good. I had determination. So what is he implanting in me? As long as I'm determined that I don't give up, I'm going to succeed. Yes?
Yes.
He's praising me. I go home. Your son is such a determined person. He doesn't give up. So what happens? And all your life and everything you do, there's trouble, there's difficulties. You say, if I'm determined, if I don't give up, eventually I'm going to prevail. And then we say, thank you, Hashem, that He made us successful. And so here, what we're saying here, when it comes to the Jewish leader, it's different. We go through the whole suffering from this presidential thing, which we learn how to be the worst possible person. These people are supposed to be like role models for us, but they are the worst possible people. and in whichever different way you look, they're just like the worst, both of them, the two of them. It's like they couldn't find the two worst people to run for president. It's incredible. And it's a lesson from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem could have found decent, fine people, honest people, hardworking people, idealistic people, accomplished people who truly care about the country. They truly care about America. They truly want to do the right thing. But instead we have these people here. So why is Hashem doing this? Why did Hashem do this to us? So He's letting us see that the qualities that we have, this is not qualities that we're supposed to look for. That we have to look for people. We say that when Yisro saw that Moshe Rabbeinu's father-in-law was Yisro. Moshe Rabbeinu had a tremendous line of people waiting in line to speak to him. They should make a decision in halacha, paskin a din. So Yisro said, "What you're doing is crazy. What you're doing is crazy. That you're wearing yourself out. You're wearing out the people. Yes, you're wearing yourself out. You're wearing out the people. You have to appoint people that will, help you. You have to allocate responsibility to other people. What kind of people should you find? People who fear Hashem more than they fear people. Yes, you have to have leaders who fear Hashem more than they fear people. That if it comes to 200 million people are telling you that it's okay to tell a 17-year-old boy that he should take medication to become a girl, and the President of the United States is saying, the President of the United States' wife is a man anyway, but he's saying it's okay also that we're putting pressure that if you don't have whatever, and you have to stand up and say, I don't care what 200 million people, I don't care what the president says, I don't care what anyone says, that a person to come up and say that this is wrong because the person fears Hashem more than he fears people, and that's the leaders that we're supposed to have. And we don't have those types of leaders. Mm-hmm. I still remember I was so involved. I have a knack for always voting for the person who never wins. Once in a while I vote for somebody who wins. Most of the time I'm voting for people who never win. So in 1988 I was so involved in the election that
Who was voting?
I don't know who the two dummy A, dummy dummy A, dummy B. So I was so involved in the election. Of course, the person I really wanted to win did not win. And then, right after the election, I had this lesson about Yisro, that the person who was teaching the Torah lesson said, we want leaders that fear Hashem more than they fear people. And I thought, my gosh, that's what we don't have. We have leaders that are completely the opposite, the backward thing. They go to the polls. They go to the polls. What do the polls say? What do the polls want? Whatever the people say, that's what I'm going to say. So they're not a real person. They have no truth whatsoever. This is what the whole Gemara says. The Gemara says when Mashiach is going to come, that the face of the generation is going to be the face of a dog. Before Mashiach comes, that the face of the generation is going to be the face of a dog. So why
the face of a dog?
But why? Yeah, why the face of the dog? So two reasons. One reason is that when a master he has the dogs on the leash, and the dog's leading the master. But really, the dog keeps on looking back to see where the master wants him to go, and he goes in the direction the master wants him to go. So that's our leaders today. They're on a leash. They look like they're in front of us, but they're always looking back to see what they hold, what the people hold. So they all they care about is just to be able to stay in power, so I can have a paycheck, so I can say things in the news. 50,000 people write an article about me, and there's billions of hours, and so on and so forth. And there was an anonymous senator, a congressman recently that just said, he said anonymously, he wouldn't, of course a congressman finally gets his name in the newspaper or something. This guy was saying something so truthful that he said anonymous. He said, everybody knows the country is doomed. We just want to hold on to our jobs as long as possible. That's what they said. And so it's not an encouraging thing. What? They just want to hold on as long as possible. They get there, whatever they pay, $250,000 a year, whatever they get, all their perks, their special parking spots, and so on and so forth. Whatever they get, they just want to hold on to their jobs, and that's all they care about. They don't care, because they know the country's doomed, that there's no way to turn it back. So here, when it comes to a Jewish leader, though, we see that Moshe Rabbeinu said, who am I? I'm going to lead Hashem's people. I can't speak. I have a speech impediment. I have to go to a speech therapist to be able to speak correctly. Why should the Jewish people listen to me? Who am I that they should listen to me? When the Jewish people went to a certain show, I think went to a certain shofet, and they said to him that he should be the I'm trying to think of his name. He should be the king of the Jewish people. He said, Hashem is your king. He didn't go, yeah, all right, I'm the king now. Woohoo, okay, everybody. Okay, everybody, start, give me your money. He didn't say that. He said, I'm not interested in being the king. Hashem is the king. Why should I be the king? Shaul HaMelech, he says, you're going to be the king. Shaul says, I'm from the smallest shevet, the smallest tribe of all the tribes. Now I'm the smallest shevet of all the shvatim. I'm from the youngest family of all. Who am I to be the king? I'm a nobody. And then he makes him a king, and he goes back to his farm and he plows. I understand everything's important, but I'll tell you something. The most important thing is this, because if you learn Hashem's Torah, He makes all the other stuff work out. I know you don't believe me.
I do.
I just want to say, Hashem's in control of the world. It's Hashem's rules. Hashem can do anything. If you play by Hashem's rules, Hashem can do anything He wants for you. If a person says, I know better than Hashem, and I can make up my own rules, and my rules are okay, then Hashem says, okay, fine, go ahead. Tell me if it works out. Yeah, I'm not going to stop you. You want to create your own world, your own reality, your own rules. Let's see if it works out. What? You have to help yourself, but what's the ultimate help is, not saying don't help yourself, be a jellyfish and do nothing. It means that a person should know, helping myself means following Hashem's rules. And then I got, like, let's say you had like this, your uncle was like a billionaire, and your uncle, was really much on your side. You would do anything you could to make your uncle like you still. I know young men. I know one young man, his father cries to me because his son gives him absolutely no respect at all. He says, my son treats me like a dog, he says, and he's crying over it. But his grandfather is a very wealthy man, and he owns many, many buildings. He owns many, many buildings, yes? And he does everything he can to butter up his grandparents, because when they go to the next world, all the buildings should be left to me. Yes? So I'm saying, it doesn't matter. But what I'm not saying is, why is he doing this? Because he knows which say, where the same thing, more than grandparents, you have Hashem Yisborach. If Hashem's got your back, I'm doing everything I can to make Hashem happy. I'm doing everything I can to serve Hashem in the best possible way. Of course, He's going to change the whole entire world. The Gemara even says that the whole entire world is created to serve the person who fears Hashem. You want the whole way, everyone has these, to go to the self-help, go to the Doubleday bookstore, Barnes & Noble, whichever bookstore you want to suffer through. Go there, the biggest section, the self-help section. Yes, everyone says how to have a happy life, one book after another. And everyone says how to be able to maximize the power of the world, to be able to If a person wants to be able to, I can give you 1 cent. I won't even charge you any money for it. I'll write a book. I'll make it a 200-page book. How to have the whole entire world serve you. And then on page, all the pages will be blank. And in the middle of the book will be one line that says that Hashem, that whole world is there to serve the person who fears Hashem. That's it. You want the world to be of service to you. That the world is there to do your bidding, to help you out. Be a person who fears the HaKadosh Baruch Hu and wants to do Hashem's will and wants to get Hashem to love him. And he learns the Torah. Well, what does Hashem want from me? I can't just come over here. A person just can't come and say that I'm just going to, okay, Hashem, here I am. What do I do now? A person has to start learning Hashem's Torah and finding out what Hashem wants. And the more he starts doing what Hashem wants, the more Hashem changes the whole entire world, that it becomes something that serves him. So going back to what we're talking about, we see that the Jewish leaders always come with humility. They don't understand why they're being a Jewish leader. When Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai, there were beams of light coming from his face. And he didn't realize there were beams of light coming from his face. Why didn't he realize there were beams of light coming from his face? Because he was such a humble person. He couldn't imagine anything. He just understood everything, how great Hashem was and how wonderful Hashem was. And Hashem is doing everything. And I'm really a nothing. I'm really a nobody. Who am I? The only reason why I have any benefits is because Hashem has given them to me. Moshe Rabbeinu used to say, if that person was blessed with the same talents that I have, so then he'll be much greater than me. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu used to say. That's how humble he was. Please. Next time you ask me for a problem, I'm going to do this the whole time. Hello. Next time you ask me you have a problem, you talk about yourself, I'm just going to do this all the time. Yeah, like that. It's not nice.
Moshe Rabbeinu was like a physical light or spiritual light?
He had a light, and it's like, I just want to lock in this point. Moshe Rabbeinu it was a light that people could see, and what was the light came from? The light was from the kedusha, that he magnified his kedusha so much. I don't know right now. He magnified his whatever. He magnified his kedusha so much that it could be Moshe Rabbeinu, that it actually became a light. And if someone, are you with me? If a person, even in this generation, if a person works so much on just being loyal and dedicated to Hashem, to doing what Hashem wants, and filling himself with Hashem's Torah, a light will come from his face also. I know no one heard me on that one. Also, a light will come from his face also. Yes? And these things, a person will see a person's special, a person's unique, because what did he accomplish? He labored in being a person who's filled with the knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he acts on it. Yes? We always talk about getting us to the point that we should want to learn Hashem's Torah, the benefits of learning the Torah. But we're not really learning Hashem's Torah. We're just getting us in the mood that that's what we should do. And that in itself is Torah learning. But when we sit down and go through the lessons and see every single line, there's like so many different lessons in every single line. That here was just one few words. He said, I'm from Shevet Binyamin. It's the smallest of all the tribes. I'm the youngest of the family. Why are you talking to me this way? Yet he's about to become the king of the Jewish people. So what is it that Hashem values most? It values a person who doesn't think about himself. He thinks only about, how can I do? The whole time Shaul is worried about, his father sent him out to try to get donkeys for him, to find his father's donkeys. And that's the only thing he's worried about. He's not worried that he should become the king of the Jewish people. And he's given so who am I? What am I? Who am I? But he was somebody, because Hashem wouldn't have chosen him. So what was he? He was a person who dedicated his life always to thinking how great Hashem is, not how great he was. How great Hashem is. And trying to tell the whole entire world how great Hashem is. The author of Mesilas Yesharim says that a person should think in, why did Hashem choose Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Why did Hashem choose Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? There was hundreds of thousands and millions of people on the planet. He could have chosen anyone. Why was Avram chosen? Why was Yitzchak chosen? Why was Yaakov chosen?
They were the most God-fearing.
Well, the thing is, we have to look into it. By us looking into it and finding out what they did that caused Hashem to love them so much, and then we do likewise, then we cause Hashem to love us also. A person has to understand that the whole entire world is confused and insane, and they're going over the brink of destruction to the point of no return. But the only way for us to hold water, that we don't get sucked into the tsunami of their insanity, is always to come back to the Torah, that's our anchor. That the Torah is anchoring us, that we don't go down in the whirlpool to drown. That we're there, we're above water, and we're succeeding, and we're doing fine, because we're living by the instructions. Hashem created the world, He created us, and He created in the instruction manual. The instruction manual is the Torah. How do I live life successfully? Now that I'm on this planet, I didn't ask to be put here, but I am here. I want to be successful. How do I live the best possible life? How do I maximize the most amount of happiness, the most amount of fulfillment, the most amount of meaning? Hashem gave the instruction manual. We just said, but everything is here. We just said one line. We just learned one line that completely goes against everything America has been going through for the past 11 months. The fact that we've been trying to choose a president that spends the whole time insulting other people. Doesn't matter who it is. They're all the same. They're all the same. That's not the point. Who is this, that? They're all the same. Every single election is always the same. In one line, it shows you who is a true leader. In one line, the whole entire history of America and 300 million people are thrown on their heads by just one line of the Torah. This is the correct way to live, not the way that they're trying to drill into our heads. We have to turn away from evil and do good. Turn away from the outside world. They're confused, they're insane, and they want to confuse us. Do good, learn Hashem's Torah, and learn the correct way to be. Thank you. Hashem should bless us and help us.